Welcome to the Thriving Outside the Box podcast. Join me, Dr. Kimberly Grocher, a licensed psychotherapist, executive coach, and yoga and mindfulness meditation teacher, as I shed light on the stories of leaders and entrepreneurs across industries who not only dared to create their own path in their careers, businesses, and lives, but have found a way to do it while thriving mentally, physically, and spiritually. I hope you walk away with the inspiration to do the same. Welcome back to another episode of Thriving Outside the Box. Today, I am honored to have my guest, my amazing colleague, Dr. Felecia, not Felicia, Felecia Pullen with me. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Felecia. Please tell the people who you are.
First of all, I have to appreciate you making sure you enunciated Felecia in that process. I am so excited to be here with you. I have nothing but love for you and honor and respect you. And you are outside of the box. That's why this is here. So who am I? I don't know. I'm a servant in Harlem. That's how I first decide to describe myself. I basically do what the community asks of me. And I feel that there are no boundaries around that, because even if I or we, the organization that I've built, can't do it, I know somebody who can. And so what I'll do is build partnerships to just help us get it done. But the root is around holistic recovery for people like me who have histories of substance use. And some people are still using substances, and that's okay. So we do yoga and meditation, acupuncture, Reiki, workforce development, parenting skills classes, and medical appointments. And everything is completely free. And then the other side of the business, we do prevention of the onset of use for teens and youth through a program called Safe in Harlem. And that's all evidence-based programs that happens in schools.
Amazing. I always love hearing about your businesses and what you're doing in the community. But I want to go back for a second, and I want to go back to you. Tell us more about you and who you are.
Oh, I'm going to have to lay on your couch to answer that. I'm Harlem born and raised, and I wear that badge of honor very proudly. And I think if I could just trace back to how I became this really strong Harlem born and raised woman, I have to go back to understanding my roots of where I came from. And so I'm first generation New Yorker because my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, and I can trace all the way back to a plantation in Greenwood, South Carolina, of women that were strong and brave and resilient and badass in their own rights. So I stand on their shoulders as I think about who am I. It's interesting because those are words that I can easily say about them, but I don't easily say about myself. So I'm going to say that I'm standing on their shoulders and all of the other badass Black people that have come before me. I am a woman who is on the outside really strong and tough and direct. But on the inside, I am someone who's really soft and compassionate and empathic, and I feel other people's pain. And I think that comes from my childhood and how I grew up, having to know how to navigate the world around me when I could show up as somebody soft so that I could be loved by the community. I also had to show up as somebody who was like, I see who you are and you don't mean me well. So I had this protective shell that I had to put on. So yeah, I'm multifaceted, if I had to say, who am I?
I love that. And I'm like, as you're talking, I'm have flashes of these different pieces of you that I have seen in the decade that we've known each other. So Felecia and I met in the doctoral program at Fordham University, Graduate School of Social Service, and we were in the same cohort throughout. We got serious around COVID. We said, okay, we're going to get out. We're going to do this. Held each other accountable. Part of Dr. Kim was Dr. Felecia.
And part of Dr. Felecia was Dr. Kim. Because as Black women, and we were very fortunate, Kim, because we had a lot of Black people in our cohort. And I would dare to say the largest Black cohort that graduated from Fordham.
I agree.
And if it were not for that very specific variable in that program, I might not have made it through. Because I knew that there were things that I could say to you that I was going through that you understood, even if you weren't experiencing it yourself, you understood where I was coming from and my experiences in that environment. So I'm grateful that you were there.
Same. I was talking to somebody else earlier today, and it wasn't even another Black person, but we were talking about, going through a doctoral program. And how when you come out, people are like, oh, you're Dr. So-and-so, that's great. Like, okay, you got a credential. And it's like going through a doctoral program is a whole reconfiguration of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It is something else. It is something else. And so to be able to come out of one is significant on a level beyond credentials.
Absolutely. I realized, and I don't know if this resonates for you, but I had strength and resilience that I didn't even know that I had going in. But I also realized and developed a lot of who I am right now in that doctoral program. That willingness to stand up and go, no, that's not true. That's not the Black experience. Are you pulling from a white perspective as you were giving this lesson? And so a lot of who I am right now and my willingness to be able to say that in spaces where many people do not or cannot say that was born in that doctoral program.
Agreed. If this were visual, you could just see us. Just like, wow. But yeah, really being able to voice and also being these, like, I think non-traditional students.
Girl, I don't know if you can tell by my voice, and you don't even, I'm just going to give myself a big up right now, see it in my face, but I'm going to be 60 in a couple of months. So I graduated in 2022. I was a grown-ass woman. Ooh, did I say ass?
Yes. Okay.
I done said it. but like, I was not traditional in the sense that I had gone right from a MA program or an MSW. I did, but I did it after a 30-year career in media marketing, advertising, and sales. So by the time I got to that PWI, I had survived corporate America, where I was one of very few Black women in my field. So I couldn't say things in corporate America. One, I was younger. Two, I didn't know how. Three, I didn't feel safe. Four, I was really trying to hold on to my job. And so by the time I got to Fordham, I was like, all guardrails are off, all bets are off. I don't have to, dance and skirt and tap dance. This is who I am. And I felt very safe in doing that. So that I have to give Fordham the credit for training me as a social worker to advocate for other people, because I learned how to advocate for myself in that process.
Amen. What led you from this corporate marketing, media maven, to social work?
Drugs. Drugs. So I was in active addiction, and by the time the jig was up for me, I was like, I need to go to rehab. Like, I am not managing this anymore. This ain't fun anymore. I'm dying now because the consequences of drug use were so bad that I was feeling it physically. I looked like I was certainly in addiction. And so I was like, I got to go to rehab. But it's beautiful because as I think about this, Kim, and I've thought about this often, that darkness of addiction, one, I understand that a lot of it was me using drugs to quiet the noises that were in my head as a result of the environment that I was currently in, but also the childhood trauma that I had amassed leading up to getting ready to go to rehab. So it was just like this explosion of interactions between my now and my then.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to this beautiful place called Palm Partners. And I was exposed because I had really great health insurance. And we can talk about, where we are right now, either on another podcast episode or down the road. But my really amazing health insurance paid $50,000 for me to go away for 57 days. And I was exposed to yoga and acupuncture and a sweat lodge. And for me, I was like, oh, this is amazing. How can I take this back to Harlem and not charge people $50,000 for it? How can I take it back to Harlem and give it to people that raised me and not let money be a barrier to them receiving the gifts that I received? So I think it was like really important for me to understand what led up to the addiction, address the addiction, and then do something with the recovery that was meaningful and to be grateful for that journey. Like the darkness was to get me to here. And I didn't know when I was in the darkness that was going to lead to the light. I just thought like, ooh, this is heavy. I'm killing myself. And I was in like such heavy points of depression where I literally wrote notes to my children and left them on a table and went into another room to die. And God was like, nope, not your time. There's a path. And this is all for something. And, the Pillars and Safe in Harlem led me to knowing what that something was.
So you literally went from rehab to enrolling in the MSW program.
There was a little stopgap, which took me to Fordham, though. I went through a program that the state of New York had, because at this point I wasn't working anymore, right? I was like, all right, I got this, that's it, not working. And I went through this program called VESID, which is now Access VR, which is a vocational rehabilitation program. And it paid for me to get a certificate in substance use counseling. So the shift came after rehab. I was like, I ain't going back to corporate America, right? That's a place that's trying to kill me. And so when I went and got the certificate.
Hold on, I wish we could say that again. Okay.
I ain't going back to corporate America. This place is trying to kill
me. Yes. Go ahead.
And thank God for this woman in the KSAC program who was at Fordham. Her name is Dr. Shelley Scheffler, who I wrote a paper, and she was like, you should be in the master's program. And I was like, I graduated college in 87, lady, because let me tell you what I ain't trying to do. And now it's like, 2011, right, 2012. And I was like, but I applied. I took the suggestion and I got in. I was like, holy crap, okay, guess I'm going to be at MSW. And then when I was in there, I met Dr. Lynn, and we survived her, Lynn Slater, who I love. And I was like, you know what? I want to be a Dr. Lynn Slater of my own right. And I said, I want to apply to the PhD program. I said, will you write a letter of recommendation for me? She was like, tell me why you want to go. You need to work for 3 years first. Why you want to go now? What do you want to do? And she really made me think and map that out and present it to her. And she was like, okay, fine. I got you. So people have like just been in my space to order these steps. And I just was like, yep, that's the path. That's it. Thank you, God, for making it easy.
And you did it. You did it.
I'm on your podcast. We did it.
We did it. And I remember, I think it was like our first year of coursework. I remember you being in the hallway and you were on the phone. You were like, oh, I got to take this call. I got to take this call. And you came back in the classroom and you were like, I got the grant. I got the grant. And the Pillars was born.
Pillars was born. Like, Kim, thank you for reminding me of that, because I think because my journey was outside of the box, it wasn't that I got the degree and then stuff started.
Right.
It was all happening at the same time. And a lot of people could not understand that or wrap their minds around it because they kept wanting to try and put me back in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't fit in the box. I don't fit in the box. I still don't fit in the box. And that led to a lot of challenges for me academically that I would not let impact this place that I'm sitting in while I'm speaking with you, because this is God's house. So whatever those professors were that could not understand the path that God had laid out for me, that was not my problem. My problem was to show them this is bigger than you, this is bigger than me. And you may not like that I got to step out in the hallway and take a call, but I'm going to step out in that hallway and take that call.
And look at what happened. Look at what happened. I've been to the Pillars. It's an amazing space right there on St. Nick and 125th, historic Harlem. Even if you've never stepped foot in Harlem, you know, I'm sure you've heard of 125th and St. Nick, right?
Apollo Theater.
Yep. And it's there. It's beautiful. It has all these different rooms and offices and people coming in and out and different programs and different services. And like everybody just seems so happy to be there. It really is like a sense of community. You got the yoga room.
You should see the yoga room now, Kim. We just refreshed it. It is so freaking beautiful. So you got to come back.
I will. I will definitely be back. You got the acupuncture space. The people that come in can also take part, can take leadership roles. You know, there's a lot of peer support. So it's not just on professionals. It's also on your peers.
And they're loving on each other in ways that, like, I cannot. We have, like Mr. Wong, who had been volunteering here for 8 years. The yoga instructor just came in today because she was like, listen, I was uptown and I could not be uptown and not come in here. And we realized she's been volunteering here for 6 years. Like, it is just these people that keep presenting themselves that help the programs grow all the time. This actor that I know has been coming in here recently. And I was like, what do you think about starting like an improv class? It's called like The Mask and the Mirror. So, you know, this is me being creative and designing outside of the box, where people can reflect on who they present as with that mask on, but who do they see in the mirror and who do other people see, and using acting and improv to kind of act that out. But then Qigong at the end of that to let go of some of that energy if they feel triggered. So it's just this beautiful place that grows and ebbs and flows all the time.
Amazing. So you are leading these two initiatives, right? Because there's Pillars and then there's
Safe in Harlem.
Safe in Harlem, which is geared towards school-age kids, right? And going into the schools. How do you stay well running all of this? Because
don't be throwing no trick questions at me, Kim.
No, you are running these programs. You have been like on different committees and boards with the last 2 mayors of New York City. You're constantly being recognized by the city and the state and being pulled to be on these committees, to be...
I am on 3 research groups right now.
So how do you stay well, knowing that your own mental health and wellness was part of what got you started on this journey?
Do as great a job of it as I could and should. And in the summer, I'll lay in the sun. That's my happy place. So I'll rejuvenate on Saturdays, and on Sundays, I will lay in the sun. I will melt into my couch cushions on Sunday and do nothing. Mm-hmm. I won't look at my emails. I'll eat, I'll nap, I'll do nothing. And like Sundays can be just that day of rejuvenation. I have some really trusted girlfriends, one that I was in the crib with, that I know I can call and tell my truth to. And I have like my best friend who will call me on my stuff. And I'll be like, yep, you know what? You're right. Allows me to, in a safe space, take a look at myself how I'm thinking, what I'm talking about doing, and be like, and I'll have to be like, you know what, you're right. Okay. So I think that nature piece, the intentional resting and allowing myself to go, I'm not lazy because I'm laying on my couch on Sunday doing nothing, because the noises in my head are just like so not connected to reality. And allowing people that I love and trust to have hard conversations with, that I know I can safely call and cry with, that I can laugh with, and that I can just be me. I'm not Dr. P. I'm not nothing, but some of them call me Felecia. Right? Like I have people. So that's how I do it.
Your people, your Sundays,
and my son.
And your son, knowing that you are fed by the sun.
Yes, I am fed by the sun.
Mm-hmm. What would you tell to somebody else who's on their journey to create their own path? They are doing something that nobody around them is doing. They've had some kind of life experience that has said, this is the way you need to be going, even if, it's not popular, even if you don't know exactly what it looks like. What kind of advice would you give to them?
The easy one for me, because I informally and formally mentor people all the time. And so there are like 5 questions that I trust if you answer, you will know that path, it will be laid out, right? And that's your who, what, where, when, and why. Who are you passionate about working with and for? Mm-hmm. For me, it was the people of Harlem who have been impacted by substance use, whether young people to prevent them or people who are already navigating a past or a current history or current use. The what was the addiction, right? The prevention piece and the recovery piece. The where was Harlem. I was born and raised here. This is where I need to be. Like if I was going to do this anywhere else, I think that this place would have been shut down a long time ago. The when for me was absolutely right now. And a part of that was driven by my age, right? I was like, I ain't got time to wait. And a part of it was, well, if not now, when? And the why is because I wanted, one, to prevent young people in Harlem from experiencing what I experienced as a result of choosing to use drugs to quiet the noises and show them other paths as a way of prevention. And then I knew from my journey in recovery that my life changed because I recovered. Everything in my life changed. My relationships with my children, like my friends, myself, everything changed. And so for the better. And I wanted people to be able to have their own journey with recovery. And if they chose to use, that's okay too. How could I show them how to stay healthy in that process? How to try to avoid Hep C and HIV? How to use safe smoking kits? I have even written guides on how to safely IV drug use, how to safely smoke. And so even though that was antithetical to my original design of the pillars, it was, okay, now I'm in this part of the journey. How do I embrace that and love on people who are choosing a path different from abstinence? So who, what, where, when, and why?
I don't even know what else to say. I am always just so tickled and inspired by you. Whenever we talk, whenever we engage, just the force that you are and the love and the passion in what you do. That is pure.
Yeah, I'm grateful. And I didn't let the naysayers stop this train. And girl, I had to kick in this door because I was the first one funded in the borough of Manhattan, like the first recovery center funded in the borough of Manhattan. And the others were the behemoths. They were the Odyssey houses, the Phoenix houses, the Samaritan villages, and this little Black girl from Harlem. I didn't have the machine behind me.
Right. These were mainstay, corporate, long-standing organizations and institutions that did good, things like that. But like, if people are not familiar with like the mental health or the healthcare system in like a city or a state, especially a city like New York City or a state like New York, somebody didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I think I'm going to do this thing. There's a whole lot of moving pieces, a lot of politics, a lot of funding, a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that for somebody to just say, oh, I'm going to do this.
There's a lot of not-for-profit that have really great intentions and could do really great work, but don't know. So thank God for my corporate years, because I learned a lot of things in those 30 years that made this what it is today.
Yes, that part. I think sometimes people think that when they pivot, it's like, oh, I wasted time here. I didn't, I don't know what I was doing. I do something completely different. No, like you bring all of you along.
All of those skills that I learned, like there was a time in my career where I worked for the Yellow Pages. And so if you got young people listening to this podcast, it's like Google, but on paper. I was cold calling for the Yellow Pages to get people to buy a 1-inch ad. 1 inch. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm calling mom and pop stores. Do I want to pay every month, $200 for my listing in the Yellow Pages, or am I going to buy my kid a new pair of shoes? So that training that I had as a salesperson, calling up strangers going, hi, I notice you just have a listing, but let me tell you the pleasures and the economic freedom that you can get from buying an ad. Yeah, that part I brought with me. So I am fearless. I don't have stage fright if I'm going on a podium talking to 500 people about the research that I've done or about the pillars that I've built. I've been practicing for this since I was, so
Yep.
This has all come with me to create what we are now.
Awesome. I always like to ask, is there something else that you are wanting me to ask that I haven't already?
Wow. I think this is the first time I've been asked this question. No, because Kim, because we know each other the way we do, just the flow of this conversation is bringing forth things that I haven't thought about in a decade or 2 decades or 4 decades, right? There's nothing more that you could ask that I haven't thought that you should ask. I'm just interested to see where we'll go from here.
I love it. Well, on that note, we'll end this episode because I'm sure you'll be back. But just want to thank everybody again for joining us for another episode of Thriving Outside the Box. And Dr. Felecia, tell the people where they can find you.
They can find me at The Pillars. And our website for that is PILLARSNYC.org. And if you just want to pop on in, we're at 289 St. Nicholas Avenue between 124th and 125th. And I am here. And you can see me in the community handing out whatevers on any given day.
Thank you so much again. And we'll see you all next time.